everybody, and welcome back to Blanche Case Fitness. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means? It's time for Jump Around, a weekly cardio class. And well, you know, I'm feeling far more optimistic about this week than I did about last week, for a lot of really obvious reasons, I think. So yeah, hi everybody. I suppose they're only obvious if you were in stream last night. So if you weren't in stream last night, my good news is that I have my first appointment on Friday to get my very first vaccine dose, which is super exciting. And I'm really thrilled to get that process started and, I don't know, actually be able to hug some of my friends before the summer. Wild idea, I know, but yeah, it's becoming a little realer. You know, I talked a lot last night about how I was sort of struggling with like being able to believe that this is a thing that's happening, that perhaps like there is a light at the end of the tunnel and it's not just another train coming to smash into us. And I don't know, I'm feeling a little more hopeful today, which is really nice, because I would like to feel excited about this. I would like to actually start to, I don't know, make plans to see other humans that I love again. Not strangers. I think it will be a good long while before I feel comfortable around large groups of strangers again. But my research grants would I should apply for a research grant to study the psychological effects of watching Star Trek. That, I feel, would yield some interesting results. No Star Trek research. Just good old-fashioned actually being able to hope for a future wherein I can, be in the same indoor space as people I love and, maybe hug them. We're starting small. We're starting small here in terms of my hopes and dreams. And yeah, it's, it will be interesting to chart the psychological effects, not of Star Trek, but of this past year, as people start to feel a little more comfortable interacting a little more broadly, as we start to expand our tribes back out again, to borrow some phrasing from the most recent season of The Expanse. Yeah, it'll be interesting. And, I'm still planning to wear a mask when I am places where I don't know everybody, and I don't know everybody's vaccination status, more importantly. And that, I have a feeling, will continue for a while. Good sense, good safety, good way to make other people feel more comfortable, so I'm not just, going around going, hey, have I been vaccinated, or do I just not give a shit? I don't want to be that person. But also just because there is a lot of inherent distrust built up over the last year of watching people not give a shit. And so the circle of people who I will feel safe enough to share air with is going to, I think, remain very small for a good long while. Which is such a weird thing to think about. I have never before in my life been so conscious of the concept of sharing air with other people. That is not something that I have worried about in the past. And I feel like that is going to be something I am far more conscious of. Every time somebody sneezes, I'm like, oh God, well, a lot of aerosols just went into the air just then. So yeah, it's going to be a very fascinating summer. But I actually am starting to think with a little more belief that perhaps before my birthday, I'll I'll be able to hug some of the people that I haven't been able to hug in over a year. Because you know what, we're starting small. We're starting with small dreams, and that's good. Oh no, the air. I'll watch it after stream. Obviously, I'll watch it after stream. I'm not going to say, hey, instead of doing that fitness class that y'all came here for, why don't we watch Crapshot instead? But yes, so I hope that you are all, either already signed up for vaccination appointments or already vaccinated, or at the very least have the knowledge of when you will become eligible. I know it's different in every state, and I know how rough that can be. My God, this is going to be such a weird portion of this process, and if you are still living in an area where you are not eligible, be kind to yourself, take care of yourself. I know how stressful that is, to just not know when it's going to even be an option for you. And even once people become eligible, it's going to be a bit of a crapshoot in terms of when people are able to get appointments. So it's still going to be a rough period as we... I see the Pavlovian response. It started already. I am a little tired, more tired today than I was the last few days, and I'm not really sure why. Although, and I've talked about this before, I've been walking more frequently. I've been trying to get out for a walk every day, of at least a couple of miles. And when you add in more activity into your overall schedule, that has an impact on your overall energy levels, and it means some shifting and reorganization as you figure out, all right, how do I fuel myself appropriately to be able to manage the additional calorie output that my walks are giving me, and I'm still in that transition phase, I think. So yeah, just another one of those opportunities to sort of demonstrate the things that I talk about, because it is important when we are looking to ramp up our overall amount of exercise. It is really important to not just be like, all right, cool, done, added that additional class per week, but to think about what impact does that have on the amount of energy that I have total? What impact does that have on my calorie needs to be able to replenish those energy stores after I exercise? Depending on how intense the exercise is, it can take up to 24 hours to get those stores back up to the level that they were at before you started your activity. And, I think a lot of times people get demoralized when trying to add more exercise into their schedule because they don't think holistically about, it's not as simple as just adding another activity in. You have to add another activity in and consider how much you're eating, when you're eating, how much fluids you're taking in, where your rest days are going to fall. Like, there are a lot of things that need to be balanced, and it can take a few days, a few weeks, like it can take some time. So, that I think is where I am right now. And, I haven't added like a high cardio intensity activity, but walking every day is adding a significant amount of overall exercise to my week. And it's something I need to keep in mind. And wow, oh man, that's so cool. I love that. 3 miles a day, every day. And like, walking, I will never not sing the praises of walking. It is such a wonderful form of exercise. It can be super relaxing. You do not need to own any special equipment. And yeah, you can go out with headphones and listen to music, listen to podcasts, and just sort of explore wherever you are. And obviously, not everybody lives in an area that is necessarily good for walking or safe for walking. So that is an important thing to keep in mind. Some people do have to get in a car and drive before they are able to get out and walk, which is, all the more reason for improving the planning of our living spaces to include lots and lots of walking areas. And thankfully Colorado, or at least the area of Colorado that I live in, is very committed to that. So it is quite easy for me to just step out my door and have a bunch of different directions that I can go in. But yeah, it is a type of exercise that basically everybody can add into their lives without too much fear of negative impact. Like, obviously it's possible to injure yourself while you're going for a walk. You can sprain an ankle, you can come down wrong on something and throw out a knee. Like, it's possible, but it is, the risk of it is much lower, and it is much kinder on your joints, particularly. Most of us are walking on concrete surfaces, and running on concrete surfaces is so bad for our joints, but walking is, because it's much lower impact, is going to be much kinder. So anyway, walking is awesome, but if you're adding more walking into your schedule, make sure that you are paying attention to how you're fueling yourself. And if you are feeling a little tired, just allowing that to be okay. So, I also ramped up my activity in these classes. So I think today, just by virtue of the fact that I am feeling a little bit more worn down, I'm going to do the whole class, but I am definitely going to be making the bare minimum my primary focus today. And that's okay. Yay! Do my best to model these behaviors so that you know that I'm not just blowing smoke, that I actually do mean everything I say about this. All right, friends, loved ones, I think it's time for class. One last big yawn. Oh man, urban cycling. I obviously can't watch that right now either, but Boulder's pretty good for urban wintertime cycling, and that is another thing that I appreciate about this area. All right, but we're not here to discuss the merits of urban planning, or at least not entirely. We're here to work out, so it's cardio day. So let's go through a pre-class checklist, because I don't really have any particular notes that I usually give before class on Wednesdays. Y'all know what we're here to do. We're here to jump around and work up a sweat. So pre-class checklist, make sure you've got your water in whatever vessel you are using. Taking a sip beforehand, I like to do it just because it gives me a quick check on whether I've been doing a good job of hydrating today, which I think that I have, which is good. Always nice to see. You've got your comfy clothes, whatever that means to you. You've got your mat or mat-sized space on the floor. And if you use a fitness wearable, now is the time to turn it on to high-intensity interval training. There we are. If you don't use one, that's totally fine. It is not a requirement. It's not even a recommendation necessarily. It's something that I find useful in very controlled circumstances, and I'd like to remind myself to turn it on. But all right, how are we doing? We ready to work out? I claimed it was going to be the last yawn, but clearly that was a lie. All right, we got our giant yawns out of the way. We've got all the way through our checklist. The speaker is on, the water is here, my workout timer app is up. So let's get started. Oh my goodness. Yeah, all right, so we are going to start with our warm-up, the place that we start every class. So on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee, and as soon as you hear that horn go off, we will begin with hip rocks and bridges. Oh, hey there, speaking of hips. Wow, what did we even do yesterday that would make my hips that sore? Maybe it was the lunge to the hand or elbow. I don't know. This is exciting. I'm going through a lot of stages of, oh wow, this is a lot more intense than I realized it was. I did a timer style yesterday that I tend to do in our perpetual motion class, and I don't really bust it out in most of the other classes, where it's very, very structured to the point where I am calling out the rhythm on which you were doing the exercises, in addition to the number of reps and the amount of time. And because I'm usually calling it out, I haven't usually been actually doing that exercise. So that was the first time that I had done that with you, and got to the end of that 2 minutes and went, oh wow, that is honestly a lot more intense than I had necessarily realized. And again, it's always really good to remember how awesome the people in your class are. How just totally badass all of you all are, because it can be too easy as a teacher to forget that when you're not taking class, you're just teaching it. And obviously I did that for several years before starting the stream, and even with this stream, I wasn't doing the entirety of class until about a month ago. So I was doing a lot of it, don't get me wrong, but I was taking a lot more breaks, and there were certain types of timers that I was just not doing with you all. And so it's a good and humbling reminder to me of just how intense the things that we're doing in this class are, And I hope in turn for you that this provides a good reminder of how awesome you are, because you're really awesome. You are doing such a great job here in class, and I hope that you always appreciate that and appreciate the work that you're doing, all right? Because even on the days when you are focused on just the bare minimum, you are still doing such a good job, okay? All right? Yeah, I'm talking to you, person who I can't see because, this is a stream. Oh my God. And then last night, I finished Zack Snyder's Justice League, and wow, that was just all over the place. I'll tell you, one thing I do appreciate about it is how different a superhero movie experience it is from the Marvel oeuvre. It sort of made me realize how inundated and saturated with Marvel content I have been over the last decade. And I'm definitely hitting a point where I don't know how much more of it I am going to want to consume, because there's just been so frickin' much. And, say what you will about this movie, and I certainly have plenty to say about this movie, but it is incredibly different stylistically, tonally, from the Marvel Universe, and that is certainly something to appreciate, even as I spent much of the movie being like, really? This was the decision that we made? This was the choice that we went with? This really seems to make the most, alright, whatever. So, I don't think, no, you know what? I will be firm. I am sure that I will never watch that movie again. But if you feel like having a night where you just park yourself in front of the television for 4 hours and consume a space opera on Earth, basically, then, you know, you could do worse than Zack Snyder's Justice League. Though I will tell you, in terms of opinions, I am so fucking over Jared Leto. And he's kind of scummy anyway. I'm an actor by training, and he belongs to a particular cadre of performers, actors, most of them film actors, who have created this really messed up version of what method acting is supposed to be. You know, all of the stories that I have heard about him, and about him particularly preparing for roles that he has played, have basically been about him being an asshole to other people in the service of the characters. And the Joker was a big one. I remember he, you know, talked about sending used condoms to his fucking castmates, which is like, no, that's not fucking professional, dude. And if you don't know how to create a believable character without being gross and abusive to your fellow castmates, then you're not actually that good of an actor. And it was just like his performance, and he's in it for like, you know, a hot second, really. Like, he's not actually in it for a long while, but his performance was just dull. It was clearly trying to crib on better performances. Like, frankly, and I haven't seen the movie Joker, and I don't particularly want to, although I've heard better things about Joaquin Phoenix's performance in that. But, like, you know, basically every person who has taken on the Joker since Heath Ledger has tried to do the Heath Ledger thing, has tried to out-edge the edginess of that performance. And I think that performance was darn brilliant. I am still, to this day, really pleased that he won an Oscar for that, posthumously, obviously, which was a tragedy. But that performance was absolutely fantastic and nuanced, and Jared Leto's was not. Jared Leto's was, you know, basically, it was as if he watched The Dark Knight and he saw the trappings of Heath Ledger's performance and said, oh, so I'll just mimic all of that physical stuff without doing any of the character building emotional work. And it was just obnoxious. It didn't play well. It felt completely unnecessary as a scene. And man, yeah, I was like, and it wasn't apparently in the original release of this movie, you know, because they added in several characters actually who weren't in the original release of the film, which I find hilarious. But yeah, this was one, you know, the others that were added in was like, okay, they're fine, they're inoffensive, you know, at worst they're inoffensive, at best it at least makes some kind of sense that we're seeing this character on screen. But yeah, this the moment that he had in the movie just felt totally superfluous. And totally unimportant to anything that was happening. So that was a little annoying. I'm definitely, you know, for obvious reasons, I have next to no tolerance anymore for consuming art with performers who are actively abusive towards their fellow castmates. And you know, we've let a lot of assholes get away with a lot of really terrible shit, you know, out of this horrible, like, tortured genius myth that we have that basically only ever applies to cis men. Don't know if you ever notice that only cis men generally get to fall into the tortured genius, well, you know, he's passionate, he's an artist mold, whereas when people of other genders, you know, exhibit any sort of desire to not be completely accommodating all the time, they're labeled as difficult and, you know, run out of the industry. And it's just, yeah, I'm just kind of over it. Just kind of over it. I'm always paranoid when I get messages during class. Oh no, that was fine. That was totally unrelated. There was that one time when the stream went down while we were warming up. And of course it took me a while to notice because I was warming up. And I didn't really, I don't think I noticed until somebody who was taking class texted me. So yeah, I always like to check that because, you know, it's not ideal to have the stream go down while we're trying to do some class here, yeah? We are trying to work out. Come on, internet, stick with us. But yeah, so there are a lot of performers where, you know, I just don't see their movies anymore. And he's definitely on the list. And, you know, I didn't actually realize that he was in this before I started watching it. And thankfully, it's such a small component of it that I'm like, all right, well, I don't feel terrible about it. But, like, I haven't watched the new Blade Runner movie because he's one of the leads in it. And I was like, I am just done supporting movies that keep hiring these assholes who, you know, quite frankly, are never as good as people try to convince us that they are. You know, that's the dirty little secret, is that most of these people who were like, oh, they're such geniuses, so we need to be okay with them being horrible to other people, are not actually particularly genius. And yeah, so we should stop venerating these people. Damn it. And there you go. There's your lecture today on abuse in acting. We're focused on Hollywood right now, but don't worry. This is also a huge issue in the theater scene. Absolutely huge issue. And it is something that needs to be addressed all over the place. And, you know, there are more movements being made towards addressing it, which is good, but there's still way more that needs to be done. And we're just moving so slowly. And really, it's not okay. It's not okay that we feel comfortable moving so slowly on these issues, because frankly, no abusive behaviors have any place in any industry. And stop. It's well past time to stop, frankly. But yeah, it's something that we all need to pay better attention to, and to make sure that we are addressing whenever it comes up, because we need to take care of everybody in our industries, in our circles. And yeah, we're doing a shit job in a lot of places. All right, water time. Do. Woo! Here we are. See, I love that. Even though the warm-up is always, you know, we're ramping up, we're not going for 100%, I still start to work up a sweat just doing the warm-up. And that is such a good thing to remember, you know. We get these impressions that the only way to get a good workout is, you know, charging into battle each time. And quite frankly, a lot of the things that we do are going to give us a really good workout, just as we focus on, you know, form and stamina. And then the rest of it starts to come. And then you get to a place where you can really start to challenge yourself more. But don't ever feel like you need to be pushing for more speed on this journey, because this is something we want to be doing for our entire lives. We got time. We got time, my friends. Okay. All right. Yeah, water is great. Okay. Let's do some tabatas. But we're going to start with 45 seconds of work to 15 seconds of rest. So we're starting with a big one. Do. And we're going to have 2 exercises. As I said yesterday, I've been liking just the flipping back and forth between 2 exercises. So our exercises, we're going to do flying chickens. So, because we can absolutely do 45 seconds of flying chickens. So feet together, thumbs at chest height. If you wear a bra, you can hook your thumbs behind your bra straps. And we're jumping the feet out in the air, landing them back in the same position they started, and flapping our elbows like that, all right? And then second exercise is going to be shrimps. Yeah, we're starting with shrimps today. So remember that if you're new to shrimps, you can start with just the small boat rock. But if you're ready to go for the shrimps, we are moving along the length of the mat. First moving shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips. Oh no, I hit the end of my mat. Time to go back in the opposite direction. All right? So those are our exercises, flying chickens, and then shrimps. So everybody's getting their water, getting back to their mat. You are a trove of YouTube videos today, my dear. I love it. I love it. Everybody needs to go back through chat after class and pull down the YouTube links. All right, get ready, get set, and we're off. Okay, so always remembering, yes, today is cardio class. So yes, we are probably going to be doing stuff that ramps up our cardiovascular system. But when we have longer intervals, we also need to make sure that we're aware of how we are spending our energy, okay? So that we're not blasting through all the available energy at the very beginning and then having nothing left for the rest
rest of class, okay? So, something to keep in mind. We do get that nice extra 5 seconds of rest, which is so exciting. But then that knock tells us to get in position, and we go. So remember for our shrimps that we want to make sure that we are moving our shoulders and hips the same amount of distance or very similar. So our hips are able to move a lot farther in that lateral direction than our shoulders are. That's just a physiological reality. And if you're moving your hips the maximum distance they can go, and your shoulders can't catch up, and then you end up like a rowboat with only one oar, just sort of turning yourself in a circle. And that's an issue I see a lot when people are just starting out with shrimps. So something to always pay attention to. Now for our flying chickens here, there aren't a ton of form notes. It is a pretty straightforward exercise. So what's the thing I usually call out when we're doing exercises of just about any variety? Checking in on that core engagement, okay? So this is not a core exercise. However, it can benefit from that core engagement. We're moving our limbs away from the center and then trying to pull them all back in together. And so we want to maintain as much control over that process as we can. And having our core engaged helps us to be able to manage the direction of the movement and control the return of all of the limbs back to that starting point, okay? So something to always keep in mind. Now this exercise is obviously a core workout, so we don't have to worry about forgetting about the core here. But this is a cardio class, so see how fast you can go. You know, do a little race with yourself. See how many laps you can take back and forth along your mat, okay? All right. Halfway through. Okay. Knock, knock, knock. Always with the knocking, making sure that we are immediately getting in a position. So the second that we start to hear that fanfare, we can begin the exercise so that we maximize the amount of the timer that we are doing the exercise, okay? And that's why we have the knocking sound effect at all, because we want to make sure that that we are starting on time. And if I'm just sort of standing around and chilling and not really thinking about it, and then suddenly the horn goes and I'm like, oh crap, I wasn't even in position, then I'm going to lose out on precious amounts of the timer to be able to do that exercise. So always make sure that when you hear that knock, knock, knock sound in our Tabata timers, that you are immediately getting yourself in a position so that you can start the exercise the second that that fanfare begins. And it's the nice thing about our Tabatas that we're starting from a rest, a true rest. We're not starting from another exercise the way we do in perpetual motion sets. So we really have the ability to start exactly on time. And that's our goal, my friends. Yes, indeed. All right, last time through, I want you to check in on your form. It should be just as good for this fourth set as it was for the first set. So, how's that core engagement that we talked about? Are you still utilizing that to help snap your feet back together at the bottom of the jump and help snap your elbows down to your sides as you land? All right? These are the things we want to check in on every time we have an interval, okay? So that we know that we are doing everything correctly. And then as we start doing our shrimps, we check in on our core engagement again. But it's far more important here because our abdominals, our obliques in particular, are generating the movement. They are the muscles that are moving your hips and your shoulders from side to side. So you want to make sure that you are absolutely engaging and using those muscle groups, okay? Woo! All right. Dang, that was core heavy. Yeah, you know how much I love core exercises. Most of these classes are core heavy. I don't know who I'm fooling. Nobody is the answer. All right. Yeah. Get plenty of water during our breaks, okay? I want to make sure that we are replenishing our lost fluid, because we lose fluid not only through sweating, and that's pretty obvious, but also through breathing. And since we're breathing faster and more heavily, that's another major way that we are losing fluid out of our bodies. So make sure that you're drinking plenty of water, okay? All right. Hiya. Let's do 30 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest. Sound good? Sound good. And again, 2 exercises. I think that's always a good way to go. All right. What shall we do? What shall we do as an exercise, my friends? Well, one of them, no, I'm not ready to do that yet. See, now I have to be paranoid about things that I think I can do for the entire time. All right, we're gonna do side-to-side mat jumps. So, starting on one side of your mat, whichever side you're on, that's the leg you're on. So I'm on the left side of my mat, so I'm standing on my left leg. All of the weight is on it, crossing my other leg behind me, but just for balance, not putting weight on that foot. And then I'm going to use the power of that front leg to generate the jump to the other side. I can touch a hand down to the floor, again, only for balance, and then back and forth and back and forth. And the other exercise is going to be push-ups. So again, as always, you can do wall push-ups, incline push-ups off of a piece of furniture. You can do our standard plank push-ups. You can do from the knees. You can do a wave push-up. The only things that I want you to definitely do shoulders directly over wrists and keeping the elbows in right by the sides as you go down and come up. So not letting the elbows fan out away from your sides, okay? All right, so side to side mat jumps and push-ups. Not bad. For timer number 2, remember we're going back to 10 seconds of rest, so it's not going to be as long and luxurious as it was just now, and that's okay, just something to keep in mind, because, you know, we get used to what we have done in the past, and then when something changes up, it can absolutely take us a second to be like, oh, something has changed here, and I'm not quite sure what it is. So, never hurts to remind ourselves that, yes, 10 seconds, not 15, so not nearly as much time before we get going. All right? And remember that in terms of push-ups, I always want you to do the version that you feel comfortable maintaining, okay? There is no inherent superiority to doing plank push-ups and only being able to do like 2 reps versus being able to do 10 reps of push-ups from the knees, okay? It's not better. And in fact, what's gonna be better is whatever version that you can maintain and do more reps in, right? So definitely never feel pressured to do a quote-unquote more difficult version of push-ups because that's not listening to our bodies. That is not respecting our ability and our strength, and it's setting ourselves up for possible injury down the line. All right, so I always do push-ups from the knees in this class because I can maintain them, I can maintain the form really easily, and I can get in far more overall reps than I would be able to if I was trying to do plank push-ups, okay? And that is what matters to me. Woo! All right. Besides, push-ups are hard. Push-ups are still an exercise that I find very, very intense. And I've been doing push-ups for a while. And I am also so much stronger today than I was, a year ago or 3 years ago. But they are still really intense for me. And that's okay. All right? That is totally fine. There is no rule that says that I need to be able to do plank push-ups and only plank push-ups, all right? That's not a rule. That's not a requirement of coming to class. That is something I would love to be able to do one day, but you know what? It'll happen when it happens, and until then, I will focus on doing push-ups really well from the knees, okay? And that's fine. That's all I need to focus on. Whoops. Didn't mean to, but there we are. Oh. Woo! Good job, everybody. Oh, yeah. Okay. How we doing? How's everybody doing? Alrighty. Woo! It's intense. It's really intense. But don't you love it? I love putting this class on Wednesdays because it really does help to give us an additional pop of energy midweek, which is when I know my own sort of overall weekly energy stores definitely start flagging a bit. So, yeah. Okay, you know what? I know that you were expecting me to bring the workout interval down again, but I think we're gonna do another 30-10. Yeah, keeping you on your toes, my friends. All right, so what are we gonna do for this 30-10? Well, first thing we're gonna do is either a turtle stand or a turtle jump. I'm gonna leave that to you, depending on what you're feeling, depending on the intensity of cardio that you wanna go for. So either way, we rock up onto the shoulders, then up onto the feet, like that. And once you're on your feet, you can either just stand right up, or you can jump and then repeat, okay? So either way is fine. And then second exercise is going to be bicycles, because you know how much I love them. So we're here, we're contracting our abdominals to lift our chest and shoulders off the floor. One knee in towards the chest, the other leg extended but off the ground, opposite elbow to knee, and switch, and going back and forth, okay? So either a turtle stand or a turtle jump, and then bicycles. And you can also feel free to alternate, you know, do stands one set, do jumps the next set, whatever you feel like. Still with that 10-second work interval, so our first sound does not mean go. That first sound is stop, and then this sound tells us to get ready. And I have a slight advantage because I can see the countdown on the phone. So if you're like, well, I can start, the timer hasn't gone off yet, don't worry. It's not that I was jumping the gun. It's just that I, saw the switch before the sound came out. Woo! This is a nice one. If you end it on the floor, then all you have to do is lay back and start the bicycles. Oh man, speaking of bicycles, I haven't ridden my bike in ages. And as we head into that wonderful spring weather, I am definitely going to want to try to get a ride in at least once a week. We'll see where I'm able to fit that into my overall schedule, but I'm just really looking forward to more outdoor activities, right? Obviously, even more than normal this winter, we have been cooped up at home, and I am definitely looking forward to getting more consistent time outside in nature and hopefully with some friends. Who knows? Woo! All right, second interval of bicycles. Remember, it's that core contraction that is lifting your chest and shoulders off the ground. And then your obliques are engaging to give you just enough twist to get those elbows from side to side, okay? So if you're not feeling any activation in your core muscles while you're doing those bicycles, then you are very likely not actually using your core. And I talk about that a lot because it's really easy for us to accidentally compensate for weak abdominals by using other muscle groups. And we can go for ages without realizing it. I certainly did. It really has only been in the last year, I would say, that I have actually seen a huge increase and improvement in my core strength. And a lot of that just comes down to I was finally paying attention to what muscle groups I was utilizing when I was doing core exercises. And I checked in and actually made sure that the muscles generating the movement or holding the position were, in fact, my abdominals. So I talk about it a lot because it's really easy to not notice and to be like, weird, I never actually feel any fatigue in my abs. Maybe that just means that my core is super strong already, or, I hate doing ab exercises because I always feel a lot of neck tension. These are all signs that you are not actually using the correct muscle group for the exercise. So that slow leg lower exercise that we do is a great option for for helping you to strengthen your core muscles. And I really do think that introducing that into my class structure definitely helped me to improve my own core strength to the point where when I then went back and did some of those other exercises, I went, oh, that's what I've been missing.
All right. Wowzer. Yeah. Oh, how's everybody feeling? Really good? Yeah? Strong? Hanging in there? Holy cow. Okay, what are we gonna do next, my friends? We have more time than I thought we did, which is always exciting. So I think we might actually go back to 45:15. I know, madness. Let's see where that brings us. So, let's do our fake jump rope, because I really enjoy that for longer sets in particular. So you do not have to own a jump rope for this. Just hold the imaginary jump rope in your very real hands and mime jumping rope, basically. All right, so we're gonna do our imaginary jump rope, and then I'm gonna have you, what do I want you to do? You know what? I want you to skip. So this is gonna be a really cardio-focused set, and a long one too. So doing our skips in place. One knee comes up, opposite arm comes up, you hop, and then switch to the other side, all right? So jump ropes and then skips. This is gonna be intense. Remember, 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest. So let's make sure that no matter what, we are paying attention to our energy needs and our overall energy output, all right? We're doing cardio, yes. We wanna make sure to be working those systems, absolutely. But we also want to make it to the end of the set and make it to the end of the class. And we're super close to the end of the class, so I don't want you to lose all that energy when we are super close, because we are going to have one more set, I believe, after this one, okay? Unless my timing is super off, and I don't think it is. So, yeah, these longer intervals can start with more of the focus of a marathon rather than a sprint. And then as we get stronger, as we develop more stamina and more power, then we can start to increase our overall intensity. All right? Yeah. Remember, for our skips, we're not trying to move all over the place on our mats. You're really just trying to stay in one place the whole time, okay? So don't worry about a lot of movement. You do want to make sure that you are hopping off the mat, but you don't have to go for a really high jump, all right? So I'm not, as you can see, getting that much distance between me and the mat, but I am getting some. You would be able to put a piece of paper under my foot while it was off the mat. So that's our goal, all right? For both of these, honestly. I'm not doing huge jumps on either of them. My goal is consistency of movement, of the rhythm, and making sure that I can keep jumping the entire time. Checking in on that core. Again, these are not core exercises specifically, but they will still benefit from more core activation, okay? So always checking in
even if I forget to mention it, which, let's be honest, I rarely forget to mention it, but sometimes it might happen, and even in those times, I want you to think about it, okay? And to check in and to feel the difference too, you know? When you activate your core while doing these skips, you may notice that it becomes a little easier to lift your knees. You may see, that core activation took a little pressure off of the quads and helped to make it easier to lift that knee up into the air, okay? So, yeah. All right, halfway through, my dears. Dang, I tell ya, this is a good class and an intense class, and I'm feeling a nice burst of energy. I was definitely feeling a little tired earlier, a little more worn down, and this has helped, absolutely. And I hope that it has helped you as well. And you don't have to, it doesn't have to feel like it's helped you in the middle of class, all right? If you're in your living room or bedroom or basement taking class and just glaring at me because I'm over here being like, yeah, don't you feel all that energy while you're heading into yet another set of jumping thing? Like, I get it, that's fine. But hopefully, once class is done, you will notice the energy come back to you. And particularly, you know, once you have a little food after class, start replenishing those glycogen stores, and you will hopefully feel that shift. And if you don't worry, because sometimes it takes a while to get there, and that's fine. It took me ages to get there, you know. I would leave class and I would be worn out and sore for hours after it, and super sore the next day. And that is one of the reasons why when you're just starting out or when you're just coming back to class after a long absence, I definitely remind people to start with just the bare minimum, because you know, if we are going immediately into pouring all of our energy into class, then frequently we go beyond our available capacity, and then it feels like we got run over with a truck, and that makes it all the harder to want to come back. And so if you're just starting out and you're like, I don't know what she's talking about, I am so tired right now, and I feel like it's gonna take me a couple hours before I don't feel tired, that's totally fine and totally normal, okay? So just focus on the bare minimum, starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly. And don't sweat any of the other stuff, all right? That stuff will come in time, but you do not have have to worry about it right now. Whew. All right. Yeah. Dang. Dang. Okay. My friends, what a class. What a class. Drink plenty of water. Yeah. I am well, moving right along through this mason jar. So, yes, we are going to do one final tabata. Yes, it is going to be 20 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest. Yes, it's going to be one exercise this time, not two. So you're going to have to go through just one exercise. And, you know, I'm going to give you dealer's choice on this because I'm certainly feeling really intense right now, and I'm not quite sure what I want to do. So, recommendations: burpees are a good one, kick-throughs are a good one, mountain climbers are a good one. You can redo one of the exercises we've already done in class. So, skips, flying chickens, side-to-side mat jumps, the jump rope. You can do high knee runs, anything that you feel like going for, all right? For our final tabata, this final 4 minutes of glory, of intensity, of reminding ourselves that we are super awesome. All right, so pick out whatever you're gonna do, hold to that for the rest of this timer. So I guess I'm going with high knee runs. And yeah, that's gonna be a challenge. And I'm gonna remind myself that if I just focus on starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly, that I will be great. And also keeping in mind that 20 seconds is not a ton of time. This is our shortest interval that we've done today, okay? Because we had 1 minute intervals in the warm-up. We've done 2 sets of 45-second intervals and 2 sets of 30-second intervals. So this is our shortest set overall. So really enjoy that, because the fact that it's shorter means that we can push a little more than we might for some of those other sets, because we don't have to maintain the movement as long, okay? So, woo! There we are, going along. Remember to check on your form each time that you start again, okay? So that you are always going in to every set paying attention to how your form is. All right, we are halfway done. So this is our fourth to last, or third to last. Yeah, third to last. No, I can't count. We got 4 more sets, counting this one. There we go. I got there. Yeah, math does not necessarily become my strong suit during a run like this. But you know what? We are so close. I'd say it's time to bust out our cheerleaders. All right? Get those cheerleaders out, putting them on the ground, next to your mat, next to your TV, your laptop, whatever you are using to watch this stream. They are doing amazing flips and turns and tossing their pom-poms everywhere. They are so proud of you, and so am I, because you know what? We've got one set left. You have made it through an hour of cardio, of intensity. You have pushed yourself. You have challenged yourself. You have checked in on your form, and you are going to go through the rest of your week with a spring in your step, because you know that if you can do this, then you can do anything. Woo! Wow. Good job. Good job, everybody. Okay. Let's do some stretching. Let's start standing. And you know what? Today we're going to do standing cardio stretch. Okay? So I'm going to put my hand on the wall, balance on one foot, bring the other foot into my hand, and then pulling that heel into my butt as close as I can to really intensify the stretch, okay? And I like to have my hand on the wall, even though technically I can do this as a balance, just because it means I don't have to think about the balance, and I can focus all of my attention on the stretch itself, okay? And that just helps me to get a little deeper into the stretch. All right, release that leg, other side. Another reason why we're starting from a standing position rather than going immediately down to the floor is I want you to keep those rib cages upright and with the fullest range of motion possible, okay? As we are slowing down our breathing, we want to be able to take big, full breaths. And as soon as we hunch over or we're in one of our floor stretches and sort of fold it over something, we cut down on our rib cage's ability to expand and allow the lungs to take in more oxygen, okay? So that's why we're starting from a standing position. Now let's do some calf stretches. So both hands on the wall. I'm going to take one leg back in a straight position, and my goal is to get that heel all the way down to the floor. And I can add more intensity to the stretch by pressing against the wall, okay? And obviously, the farther back I can take that foot, the more intense the stretch will be, but I also want to pay attention to the capacity of my leg and its flexibility, all right? Back up to standing, other side. Remember, we're not trying to shove our heel down. We want to move slowly into the stretch so that we are not telling our brains to activate the muscle, because when we activate a muscle, when our brain sends that signal, the muscle tries to contract. That is what it naturally wants to do. And in this instance, we want to allow the muscle to lengthen. And so moving a little more slowly into the stretch helps us to prevent that automatic contraction. All right, down to the floor. Let's take the soles of our feet together, and we are going to do our usual fold over. So remember, start by taking a flat back position with your back, and then keeping that flat back as well as you can, walk the hands forward one at a time. Go as far as you can, and then when you feel like you can't go any farther, then you can let the upper back curve over. And that just helps you to deepen the stretch a little bit and get the torso closer to the thighs. So shake your head out for a second, just make sure you're not clenching your neck. And then we are gonna take 4 deep breaths, and every time you exhale, I want you to try to sink a little more deeply into the stretch. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. And rolling back up. Now, let's take our legs out to a nice wide second position. And we are going to turn our shoulders towards one leg. You want to make sure that your knees are always pointing up towards the ceiling. So maybe you need to narrow the stance of the legs a little bit. But no matter where we are in the stretches, make sure your knees are pointing up towards the ceiling, okay? Turn your shoulders towards one leg, and let's fold all the way over. All right, keeping those shoulders square to the leg. Check on that other leg, make sure that knee's pointing up. And let us again take those 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. And now don't roll up. Take the same arm as this leg. Bring it to the inside of the leg. Open your shoulders up so you're facing forward. Bring the other arm up and over as far towards that foot as you can. We're getting a nice long stretch along the lats. All right. And let's take 4 deep breaths here. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Now, let that arm bring us back up to seated. Turn towards the other leg. Same thing. Folding over, keeping the shoulders squared. You may be able to go farther down. You may not be able to go as far, depending on the flexibility of your hamstring. Check back on that knee. Make sure it's still pointing straight up towards the ceiling. And now, let's take 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Now, same arm as leg to the inside. Open the shoulders up, other arm up and over towards the foot, getting that nice long stretch along the lats, and that other knee still pointing up towards the ceiling. And 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's one. That's two. That's three. And four. And up. And, oh man. There we go. Good job, everybody. Holy cow. Oh, man. What a good class. What a good class. Oh, make sure to grab some water, my friends. Wow. Wow. Okay. Everybody, man, you rocked it. You absolutely rocked it. And you should be very proud of yourselves. I know that I am. That was intense. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Oh man, and even if right now you're not feeling the burst of energy, even if right now you're glaring at me through your laptop or TV screen, which I totally understand, I do hope that you enjoyed yourself, and I hope that over time this class does start to be a source of renewed energy for you midweek, because that's why I like to have the cardio class on Wednesday, because there really is, for many of us, a dip in our energy levels when we get to the middle of the week. And having something like this can be a nice sort of shock to the system to get the energy pumping back and to get your body going, oh, all right, we need to make sure that we have more energy available for whatever else of this nature comes our way. So that's why I enjoy having it here, and I hope you liked it too. And don't forget to go back through chat and collect the variety of YouTube links that have been shared. I can vouch for the source, so don't worry about clicking on links from strange people. I mean, obviously I can vouch for the source, it's a mod. But yeah, some light YouTube watching for the evening, or whenever you have time. But that, I think, is going to do it for us today, and I am looking forward to post-workout shower and to a good meal tonight, most definitely. And I hope you're going to do the same, because again, rehydrating and replenishing our fuel stores are two very important things to do, okay? We need that. It can take up to 24 hours for our glycogen stores to fully replenish. And if you've got any activities planned for tomorrow, then you want to make sure that you're getting a jump on that. Generally, I recommend that people have at least something to eat within 30 minutes of finishing a class like this, okay? So, yeah. And it doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be a huge meal, but just something to start getting the carbs, the protein, the fat back into your body to be able to run these systems. It's important. It's all one big holistic system. Whee! All right, but speaking of, I'm going to do the same for myself. So we have only one more class this week. As I mentioned yesterday, our Friday class is canceled, which is sad, but it's for a good reason, which is my first COVID vaccination. So I will be sending out a VOD to a previous functional home fitness so that you can still get that workout in, even though we won't be able to be on stream. But then Saturday morning at 9 a.m. is going to be the weekend kickoff. As of now, it is still scheduled. Obviously, plenty of people have had side effects to the vaccine of varying degrees of intensity. And if I wake up on Saturday morning and go, oh my God, I
I can't, then I'll obviously let you all know. But even if I'm not doing the class, I will hopefully be well enough to get on stream and teach the class. So that is still my goal as of now. Yeah, it's a little frustrating to have the stream schedule, you know, tossed about like this, but honestly, it is for a very good cause, so I'm not too broken up about it. Can you do reruns yet, or do you need a partner for that? I do not know. I don't know. Yeah. So I'll have to check. I have no idea. That sounds like the kind of thing that they probably reserve for partner, but who knows? Anything's possible. But I will check. And either way, a VOD will go out for Friday. I do hope that you join me here for Saturday morning class, because that's my other favorite class of the week. But yeah, that is the plan for the rest of the week. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All those handles will be in my end card, but they are all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload all the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you can't make the live cast, so definitely head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I do have a Ko-fi account for one-time donations at Blanche Case Fitness, or you can subscribe to this very channel if you have the means and the desire to support me on an ongoing basis. Any and all support is very much appreciated. And if you want to help me keep growing this channel and growing this community, then please tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome class. I stream 4 days a week. We have a great community here. We have been keeping each other healthy and fit and taking care of each other throughout just unprecedented year. It has been such a delight and an honor to be here, and I am looking forward to continuing forward into the future as far as we can. So, all right, my loves, make sure to refill that water. Make sure to get yourself some food. Enjoy that post-workout shower. I know I will. And I will see all of you back here on Saturday. Mwah. Have a great night.